So this is where we left off with the adjusting arm. So we're ready to do the dimensions and finish this up. We just got to clean up a few things here first. This green center line here, I'm going to trim. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to keep this. And I'll get rid of that and that. So it's just trimmed up within the slot. And then I'm actually going to switch these three to center layer. And same thing, I'm going to kind of bring them in a little bit. Depending on how far you drew these, like that could go in a little bit. That could go down a little bit. And this one can go in a little bit as well. It just depends on how far you drew them. You know, something kind of like that is fine. This one here, I'm going to delete for now. I'm going to switch my layer to center, go to annotate, and use the center mark tool to put those two on. And then I guess what I'll do is I will draw a line, a new center line, just from the right quadrant here to the left quadrant there. So I have like a center line going through the middle. So that's what your center lines would look like. So again, make sure you do center lines first before you dimension. So now I'll switch to dimension layer. And I can start putting these on. So like I have the 6-inch one on the bottom. We'll go down, I'll turn my snap on so I can go down 3/8, which is about right there. And then one more down. And then I'm going to go do another, actually we'll do the radius one. Radius here is 13/16, which it puts it as a decimal, and that's fine. We're going to do our angle dimensions. So I have a dimension here that's 30 degrees. About right there is good. And then we also have 16. So again, I'm going to turn snap off. If you're having trouble clicking the lines because it's snapping on you, you can turn that off for a second. 16 is about right there. I have another radius for the 3.875. And notice how I'll just click here. But I want it to go the whole length. To do that, you're going to select the dimension that you just put on there. Hover over the grip where the dimension is, where it says 3.875, and you want to move text only. And then I'll place that right here is good. Now I have that one going all the way through. And then I have the fillet dimensions, so I need a radius here. That's the 0.75. The 1.25, I'll do, that's fine right there. This one I'm going to use Q leader. If you remember, we did Q leader on the last one. So QL, enter. Specify my first point about right here. I'll go out to, yeah, about right there is good. Then over a little bit to the right. So I'm just clicking. Text size is 0.125. Hit enter. And I want this to say 9/16. Diameter, so you can do the DIA, I guess, or if you want the diameter symbol, do %C. And then we want it to do 2 holes. Enter, enter. And you're going to double click it. Drag the little arrow out just a little bit so we're on 2 lines like that. Close text editor. The 1/2-inch dimension in the middle, that one's a little tricky to get the points. You're going to want to use aligned because it's kind of at an angle, that dimension. Don't use linear. It's not a linear dimension. So we'll use aligned. And I just got to click a point right here. It would work, midpoint. And actually, I'll go to the other midpoint. And then hopefully it gives you the 0.5. You could put it outside if you want. You could leave it inside. You know, either way is fine. There's a 0.75 radius up top. So again, double check all your dimensions. Make sure you got everything on there. I think we're good. Last thing would be I want you to set this one up on ANSI landscape, 1:1 scale. So I'm going to set that. I'm going to double click in the viewport. I'm going to double click the wheel. And you can see I have some other ones on there, but I'm going to zoom in on this one. Set the scale to be 1:1. Now you see it's kind of a tight fit there. So I'm good on the bottom, but if you notice the top, my 0.75 dimension is cut off a little bit. So I'm going to go back to model, and I'm going to go up to this 0.75, and I'm just going to kind of slide this down lower. There we go. Now if I go back to ANSI landscape, that's better. Everything's on there. Now if the center lines get cut off, that's okay. If it's set, 1:1 scale is good. So I'm going to double click in the gray, and then I fill in my title block again. So this is CAD 2, your name, period, seat, drawing number. This is now number 2. Scale is still 1:1. But the title of it, if the title ever does not fit, you can always abbreviate it. Adjusting arm would be fine. So you can always abbreviate things if they don't fit. Put today's date in there, and make sure you save it when you're done.